Alright, let's knock this out real quick. As far as reintroducing a more upbeat Superman, taking inspiration from All-Star Superman is a great place to start. You just knew James Gunn was going to sneak in one weird show. As long as it keeps Viola Davis and John Cena's Peacemaker around, I'll be happy. It's Space Cops meets True Detective with HBO as its platform. This one could be huge. Much like with The Boys, this show will probably have to update the story from Bush-era politics to the modern day. And given that this was a response to the original comic run, don't be shocked if this is a backdoor Superman sequel, like how Civil War is more of an Avengers movie. A bit of a risk, but it could be hilarious. This also might be how they let Jolo stick around as Blue Beetle. I haven't read the series this is based on, but I love Tom King as an author. This one feels like a placeholder until they figure out if Gal Gadot is sticking around. Don't you tease me, James Mangold. And finally, oh boy. Until the release of The Batman, it seemed like the only Batman comics Hollywood folks ever read were The Long Halloween and The Dark Knight Returns. Thankfully, that's no longer a problem, as we're finally getting to Grant Morrison's massive Batman run. There are still a ton of questions, though. How will the world react to Damian Wayne? Is he the only Robin, or are they introducing a full Bat family? If we're doing the Morrison run, will this tackle Dick Grayson as Batman and Batman Incorporated in future sequels? And would Grayson as Batman help avoid confusing audiences, since Matt Reeves' Batman is still doing its thing? Speaking of which, I like the distinction between the DCU and DC Elseworlds. It lets different projects still get off the ground without having to be shackled by continuity. As with any of these big announcements, you can expect about 70% of it to actually get made, and for things to get shuffled around and reworked. But as for everything that was announced with this first chapter, I'm happy to say, I'm really excited. So less than a month after I ripped on Batman Unburied, the DC Spotify crossover project came roaring back with a new series, Harley Quinn and the Joker, Sound Mind. And shockingly, it's exceptionally better than the previous show. Admittedly, I was a little hesitant going into this one. While I love most of Batman's rogues gallery, Harley Quinn is often mishandled. A lot of creators fail to recognize that her relationship with Joker is foundationally toxic, and that the best thing for her is to leave him instead of being caught in a cycle of abuse and neglect. Plenty of more recent adaptations have figured this out, but some keep forcing her back to him as though the insanity and cruelty he puts her through is somehow romantic. It's one of the many reasons I can't stand David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and why I'm dreading whatever they've got planned for Joker 2. But Sound Mind completely won me over. A big reason why is that, unlike Batman Unburied, it actually sticks with the idea of creating an entirely new premise all the way through. It starts off like the normal Harley Quinn origin story. She's a psychiatrist, she's working at Arkham Asylum, she gets Joker as a patient, and he immediately starts pouring on the charm. Only this time, she's completely unfazed by him. Another big change is to Harley's family. Her mom is out of the picture, while her dad has been switched from being a swindling con artist like in the comics to a loving, supportive, retired factory worker. He has cancer and needs treatment right away, but she doesn't have the money to cover it. But after realizing she can use Joker's affection to her advantage, she convinces him to steal the money if she'll lie to her bosses to get him out of the asylum. The plan works. Harley then tells Joker she has no interest in him, and her father winds up dying during the procedure. It's also during these first few episodes where Harley meets Bruce Wayne, who's only 18 months into being Batman. He wants to find ways to improve Arkham, prompting her to pitch the theory that Batman is actually causing the escalation in supervillain crime sprees. And while it mostly sounds like the same argument you've heard in dozens of Batman think pieces, Bruce is actually receptive and agrees to launch a new study about Gotham's criminals with Harley at the helm. After her father's death, Harley is consoled, rather poorly, by the people around her, including a wealthy aunt who refused to help her financially back when he was alive. Joker then tries to get revenge by letting everyone out of Arkham, but Harley escapes and hatches a plan with Bruce to lure Joker out into the open for the cops to arrest him. She does so by convincing him that they're on a date, and once he gets arrested, it looks like everything has been resolved. But just when it seems like Harley is about to start doing some real good with her research, she asks Bruce about something Joker mentioned, how the chemical company her father worked for that knowingly got him sick was actually owned by Wayne Enterprises. Bruce admits it, but his answer about what he plans to do to fix it doesn't satisfy her. She then decides to break Joker out of prison, and the two escape even after Batman pleads with Harley to not throw her life away. She declines, and the two get away in a helicopter to close out the series. What makes the series consistently better than Batman Unburied is its ability to sidestep most of that show's problems. First, there's the pacing. It's only 7 episodes long, all of which dropped at the same time, meaning you can binge through the whole thing in one afternoon. There's also no plot cul-de-sacs or surprise twists midway through that needlessly elongate the story. There's also basically no action scenes, so the awkwardness that plagued Unburied's last few episodes is averted. Even the performances are a step up. Christina Ricci gives Harleen, by the way, she's never actually called Harley in the series, a layer of competence that immediately separates her from Arlene Sorkin and Tara Strong's tragic, love-struck punching bag from the animated series. Justin Hartley gives a much more upbeat and energetic performance as Batman compared to Winston Duke, though that's probably to reflect how he's still relatively new as a vigilante. They even got rid of the Batman growl for the one scene where he puts on the cape. And then there's Billy Magnuson as Joker. There's obviously quite a bit of Mark Hamill inspiration in there, but he brings in an added layer of humanity and awkwardness that makes the performance unique from the countless imitations out there. What might make or break the series for you is how you feel about Harley's heel turn in the final episode. Admittedly, I didn't care for it at first. It felt like she was ready to throw away her life's work a little too quickly after one half-hearted answer from Bruce. But after reflecting on the series for a bit, I gave the ending a bit more credit. Her therapy scenes with Magpie showed she was sympathetic towards the plight of the villains, given the struggles in her personal life. They also do a great job at establishing her connection with Joker during their quote-unquote date. See, this version of Joker is similar to some of the various comic interpretations. He's not insane, but rather his nihilistic outlook drives him to the theory that all of life is pure chaos. That the real crazy people are the ones who think it all has meaning and purpose. Harley finds some truth in that ideology. Her mother clearly had mental and substance abuse issues. Her bosses and coworkers overlook her simply because she's a woman. Her father loved her and wanted to support her dreams, only for a corrupt organization to slowly poison him as he worked tirelessly to help pay for her college. And the best answer any of her family members and peers can give her after his death is everything happens for a reason. The ending doesn't indicate that she's lost her mind or that Joker's words somehow have power over her. It's still unclear if she even sees him in any sort of romantic light by the end, but that she'd rather break away from a society she sees as inherently broken rather than keep trying to fix it. And as far as origin stories go, that's a heck of a lot more interesting than a ditzy psychiatrist falling in love with a murderous clown. Definitely give this one a listen. Well guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you don't mind, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And stick around, because I got a few more episodes planned for the rest of this month. See you then.